A random sample of 16 tubes taken from the group will have a mean lifetime between 790 hours and 810 hours. So B less than 785 hours. C more than 820 hours. Next between 770 and 830 hours. So what is given? Given by data, he has given mean. Mean means mu. So mean lifetime of 800 hours. The mean lifetime, that is mean is 800, and sigma is given, that is 60, and n is small n is manufactured by standard probability that a random is 16 tubes. Small n is 16. So what is mean? So mean of the sampling mean. So mean of the population, which is equal to the mean of the sampling mean. That is equal to what? Mu x equal to mu x bar, right? So x bar is yeah, mu x bar is 800. What is sigma x bar? Sigma x bar is sigma by square root of n, right? Or sigma x bar square equal to sigma square by n. So sigma x bar, therefore sigma x bar is sigma by square root of n, right? That is equal to 60 by square root of 16 is 4, that is equal to 15. Now we have standard normal variate SNV that corresponds to the mean here, that is z equal to x bar minus mu x bar divided by sigma x bar. So x bar minus mu x bar is 800, sigma x bar is 15. Now, what I want the probability. So here between 790 and 8 to 10 hours. Therefore, probability of 790, x bar is greater than 790 and less than 810. If x bar is 790, z is 790 minus 800 divided by 15 minus 0.67. If x bar is 810, z is 810 minus 800 divided by 15, that is 0.67. Therefore, probability of z x bar that greater than 790 less than 810, that is corresponds to finding the probability of z is greater than minus 0.67 and less than 0.67. So this is 0.67 minus, so I want this area, right? The area region bounded by this minus 0.67 to plus 0.67. Therefore now, because of symmetry, what is the area between minus 0.67 to 0? That is same as 0 to 0.67. Therefore, my area between minus 0.67 to plus 0.67, you can write it as 2 times of probability of 0 less than z less than 0.67. That is 2 into 0 to z, phi of z, that is phi of 0.67. Phi of 0.67, just to go through the table, normal probability table, go vertically 0.6, horizontally 7. That value is 0.2486, that is 0.4972. That is the required probability of mean light of tube between A790 and it. Next one is what? Between these hours. Next, less than 785, more than 820, etc. Therefore, less than 785, x bar is 785, therefore z corresponds to 785 minus 815 minus 1. So therefore, probability of x bar is less than 785, that is equivalent to finding the probability of z, which is less than minus 1. Therefore, that is equal to find probability of z is greater than 1. That is equal to probability of z is greater than 1 what? So that is greater than 1 means, see this is the area the total area 0.5 minus from that, if I remove non-shaded region, we'll get the required one. Therefore, probability of z is greater than 0 minus probability of 0 less than z less than 1. So entire region, if I subtract 0 to 1, right? So that gives the required area. Now z is greater than 0 is 0.5 minus 0 to 1, that is phi of 1. 0.5 minus, what is phi of 1? Phi of 1 is 0.3413, that is equal to 0.1587. Thus, the probability of x bar, which is less than 785, equal to 0.1587. Right? This is the required area. Next, to find probability of x bar, which is greater than 820. If x bar is 820, then what is z value? Again, using this formula. So 820 minus 800, 820 minus what is 800 divided by 15. If you simplify that, we'll get uh, 1.33. Therefore, probability of x bar is greater than 820. That is equivalent to finding probability of z greater than 1.33. So see, I made a mistake here. That is, I have taken shaded region here. We have to find non-shaded region here, right? Greater than that. Therefore, we can write it as a figure ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನು shaded ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇದನ್ನು non-shaded ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, right? A mistake I have written shaded. Otherwise, no problem. Shaded, if I from z is greater than 0, if I remove shaded region, we'll get the area greater than 1.33. So problem is correct. Here, this is correct. Figure ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನು shade ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡಿ, ಇದನ್ನು non-shaded ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Z is greater than 0 minus probability of 0 less than z less than 1.3. So I want area greater than 1.33. Therefore, if I remove this part from that, we'll get the required region, required area. That is 0.5 minus 5 of 1.33. That is equal to 0.5 minus, what is 1.33? Go vertically 1.3, horizontally 3. So that is you are regarded as, that is value is 0.4082. That is 0.0918. Thus the probability of x bar which is greater than 820 is 0.0918. Next, to find probability of x bar which is greater than 770 and less than 820. If x bar is 770, then z equal to minus 2. If x bar is 830, then z equal to 2 from 1. Therefore, we have to find the area between minus 2 to 2. So this is the required area. Again, by symmetry, the area lies between 0 to 2, minus 2 to 0. We can write it as 2 times probability of 0 less than z less than 2. 2 times of phi of 2. 2 times of, what is phi of 2 value? You go vertically 2.02 along vertically 2.2 and 0 along z. That is phi of 2 value, right? You go to the normal probability table and just you write that. That is 2 into 0.4772. That is 0.9544. That is, that's the probability of required region is 0.9544. Right? This is the problem solved. Sampling one, sampling theory, that is with sample, without sampling, etc. Wait a minute, we'll take next video. Yes. I think page number is continued, 15, 16, right, 17. This is the next video, right? Now testing hypothesis. So hypothesis means whether that is true or not. So generally we use hypothesis to rejecting the, we reject the level, right? We use that. But here testing hypothesis, now I just go through the theory part, just to look into that. So, and I will go through one by one. What is test of significance level here? What is the test of significance of proportion? What is the test of significance of sample mean? What is the test of here when give difference of means is given? So how do you find that? One take test, two take test, etc. So entire thing is theory part. Just to look at that from in order to arrive at a decision regarding the population through a sample of the population through a sample of the population, we have to make an assumption that is referred to as hypothesis, which may or may not be true. Our hypothesis may true or may not. Again, there is a one is null hypothesis there, and we are looking for an complementary part of that is alternative hypothesis. The hypothesis is formulated for the purpose of its rejection under the assumption that is true. That is called a null hypothesis. What is null hypothesis? The hypothesis is formulated for the purpose of its rejection under the assumption that is true. That is called null hypothesis. That is denoted by S naught. So here we use hypothesis, that is one tail test and two tail test, right? Now, any hypothesis which is complementary to the null hypothesis, that is called alternative hypothesis. That is denoted by H1. H naught is null hypothesis. H1 is denoted by alternative hypothesis. You can denote it by HA also. HA means alternative. A stands for alternative hypothesis. Now, examples. To test whether a process B is better than a process A, we can formulate the hypothesis as there is no difference between the process A and B. Process is same for A and B, but we assume so the hypothesis is correct. Or when mean is given, the mean is correct. That is right. Suppose I stand for some results where we consider the result is true or what I have given that's correct. So null hypothesis, that is the null hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis, you may take that is false. What is your decision? That is false. So how do you verify that? Again, that depends on a confidence level of interval. That is depends on Z. So Z is we defined here. The definition is given. That is one tail test and two tail test. That is the one hypothesis. When that depends on the data available, right? We use suitable formulas. Yeah. And next one, to test whether there is a relationship between two variate x1 and x2, we can formulate the hypothesis. We formulate the hypothesis as there is no relationship between. That is the one hypothesis. With the relationship means there is no relation between them. That is the one more hypothesis. Now, what is error? Errors. In a test process, there can be four possible situations, of which two of the situations lead to the two types of error, and the same is I presented here, means I have written here. That is, one is what happens sometimes hypothesis is true. We accept the hypothesis. See, what are the cases? Accepting the hypothesis or rejecting the hypothesis, correct? So sometimes what happens, hypothesis is true. That is the, if you accept that, that is the correct decision. Rejecting the hypothesis, that is the wrong decision. There is an error occur, that is called type 1 error. ಕೆಲವು ಸಮಯ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೈಪೋಥೆಸಿಸ್ ಟ್ರೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಓವರ್ ಸೈಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಏನು ಓವರ್ ಸೈಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನೋ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ವಿ ಫೇಲ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಫೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಸೊ ದೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ರಾಂಗ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ವಿ ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿ hypothesis, that is the wrong decision. We expect that is a type 1 error where there is a error occur, that is called type 1 error. Sometimes what happen, hypothesis false, we accept the hypothesis, that is the wrong decision, we call it as type 2 error. We reject that hypothesis, that is the correct decision. So in order to minimize both the types of error, we need to increase the sample size, right? It is further important to note that acceptance or non-acceptance of hypothesis is purely based on information revealed by the sample. So what is the information that is revealed by the sample? So what information we got from the sample, that depends upon that only we have to accept or reject the hypothesis. And what is indicated by a particular sample may not always be true in respect of population. So in respect of in population, if I take only one sample or two sample, right? So if I go with a particular case of that, so that generally which is not true, right? that do not give the correct result, right? That is the one of the result of the population. So sample may not always be true in respect of populations, right? So you have to collect the more samples. You have to collect more sample. You go with the study with the more samples, more number of samples. You have to study that. Say COVID situation, say if you take one particular person, right? If hypothesis, so what is the symptoms available? So what are the symptoms if COVID-19 occurs? So that is one person is different from another. So symptomatic, asymptomatic concept, right? Next, whether it carries asymptomatic person is carries the virus and can it be transmitted? We have to study that. You can't do it by only individually. You can't take only one particular sample. You have to take more samples and you have to identify. You have to take the hypothesis. So for hypothesis testing, you have to consider more samples. So do not consider only a particular person or individual or particular sample. Particular samples may not give the true result, right? In most of the cases. Therefore, we go for more samples. You have to collect more samples and you have to analyze the result. Are testing the hypothesis. Next one, a reason which amounts to the rejection of null hypothesis, that is called critical reason or reason of rejection. So we fix some value. What is the confidence level for this test? So 99% or 95% of that. So if 95%, if I get this value, we can neglect this. We accept this within this value, right? These are the tests here. So we have definitions here: one tail test, two tail test, everything. Just I go through that. What is the significance level? The probability level, the probability level below which leads to the rejection of the hypothesis is known as the significance level. The probability level below which leads to the rejection of the hypothesis is known as the significance level. This probability is conventionally fixed at 0.05 or 0.01. 0.05 means that is 5% level or 1%. These are called significance level. So we feel confident in rejecting the hypothesis at 1% level of significance than at 5% of level of significance. We feel confident in rejecting the hypothesis at 1% level of significance than at 5% of level of significance. 5% of level of significance can also be understood as the probability of committing errors of either type. So 5% level, it may be occurs type 1 error or type 2 error, that is 0.05. Next year, test of significance and confidence interval. See, you have to note the interval here. What is the interval? What is your mean value lies between? And when you come to the testing proportions, you have to note what is that formula, what you have to do, what is the probability limits. You have to note all those things. Test of significance and confidence interval, the process which help us to decide about the acceptance or rejection of the hypothesis, that is called test of significance. Let us suppose that we have a normal population with mean mu and standard deviation sigma. If x bar is the sampling mean, x is varied, x bar is the sampling mean of a random sample of size n, the quantity z is defined as z is x bar minus mu divided by sigma. But what is sigma in place of sampling mean? That is sigma square by n, correct? Sigma x bar square is sigma square by n, that is sigma x bar square. But therefore, what is sigma x bar? That is sigma divided by root n. This is called a standard normal variate, SNV. From the table of normal area, we find that if you go to the table and observe that 95% of the area that lying between these two values, z is minus 1.96 to plus 1.96. In other words, we can say that 95% confidence that z lies between minus 1.96 and plus 1.96. Further, this is 95%. 5% level of significance is denoted by z of 0.05. So 95% 5 in 5% level of significance, that is denoted by z of 0.05 or z of 0.05 mentioned or 0.05. Thus, we can write the verbal statement in the mathematical form. So minus 1.96 less than or equal to z less than or equal to 1. What is z? Z is x bar minus mu divided by sigma divided by square root of n. If you simplify this here, minus sigma by root n into 1.96, which is less than or equal to x bar minus mu, which is less than or equal to sigma by root n into 1.96. Therefore, mu, which is less than or equal to x bar plus sigma divided by root n into 1.96. Just I multiply mu. What is mu here? So mu towards left, that is x bar plus this. Mu again here towards right. So this come to left hand side, x bar minus sigma divided by root n into 1.96, which is less than or equal to mu. Thus, we can write by combining these two results in the form. So your mu mean lies between x bar minus 1.96 divided by into sigma by root n, which is less than or equal to x bar plus 1.96 into sigma by root n. So this is the limit. This is 95% confidence level, right? That is the mean. That is value that lies between this interval. At 90, this is what 95%. Similarly, from the table of normal areas, 99% of the area lies between minus 2.8 to plus 2.8. This is equivalent to the form of, see, just replace 1.96 to 2.58, right? So that is 99% level. This is the confidence interval. So we call it as ZC 1.96 and 2. ZC means the confidence coefficients. So note these two. I need these two results. See, I want these two formulas. Are in general ZC. So whatever. This is 95%, 90 95%, 99, 98%, that is 2.33. I think 2.33, that is 98% confidence level. So generally we can, if you want, you can write it as ZC. X bar minus ZC into sigma by root n, which is less than or equal to mu, which is less than or equal to X bar plus ZC into sigma by root n. So ZC means confidence coefficients. That may vary at 99%, 90%, 95% is 1.96, 95, 98% 1.645. Sorry, that is 95, correct. So thus we can say that 2 and 3 is the 95% of confidence interval and 3 is the 99% of confidence. So what is the confidence interval? So this is the confidence interval for 95 and 99. You know that. The constant 1.96, 2.5, etc. etc. in the sense here we take 90 different percentage interval name ZC and 1.9, 1.645, 2.33 also comes under. That's why I mentioned the word etc. Then the confidence limits are called confidence coefficient, that is denoted by ZC. So from confidence level, we can find the confidence coefficient and value. If I have confidence level, we can find confidence coefficient. If you have confidence coefficient, you can find the confidence level. So here, 95% of the reason, 1.96 minus 1. So this is small, 2.5%, 2.5%, right? That is 5% level. So 99% of the limit, what is here? The 2.58 minus 2.8. The 0.5 is 1%, 99 plus 4, 100%. Right? As referred in the figure, we can say that 99% confidence that if the hypothesis is true, the value of Z for an actual sample between minus 1.96 to 1.9. Since the area under the normal curve between these values is 0.95, right? So that is 95%, so 95% level. That is 0.95. However, if the value of Z for random variable sample lies outside the range, we can conclude that probability of happening of such event is only 0.05, so that is 5%. If the given hypothesis is true, the total standard area, that is 0.05, being the level of significance of the test, represents the probability of making type 1 error. Making type 1 error means rejecting the hypothesis when it should have been accepted. We have to accept that, but we have rejected that. That one is type 1 error. The set of values of Z outside the range minus 1.96, 1.96, that constitute the critical reason or the reason of rejecting the hypothesis. Whereas the value of Z within the same range constitutes the significant reason or the reason of the acceptance of the hypothesis. And that is, there is a one-tailed test and two-tailed test for that. So in our test of acceptance or non-acceptance of a hypothesis, we concentrated on the value of Z on both sides of the mean. This can be categorically stated that the focus of attention lies in the two tails of the distribution, and then such a test is called two-tailed test. Sometimes we will interested in the extreme values to only one side of the mean, in which case the region of a significance will be a region to one side of the distribution. That is obviously a area of such region will be equal to the level of significance itself. Such a test is called one-tailed test. The critical value noted here, the critical, so you have to know everything here. You have to know what is critical value for Z. Here 95%, 99%, 98%. 1 point, here critical value of Z, that is already stated with 5%. At 5% level, this is the critical value. 1% level of significance can be understood as the value in respect of two-tailed test. However, the critical value of Z in respect of one-tailed test, one-tailed test here, that is normal probability curve. If you see that, this is the range. And at 5% level, minus 1.64 to 1.645, and 1% level, minus 2.33 to 2.33 level of significance. See, these are the tests. So look at the value, critical values for Z, whether it is greater than that, less than that you have to consider. You have to accept the hypothesis or reject the hypothesis, we have to see the critical value. Test critical value of Z, that is 5% level and 1% level. One-tailed test at 5% level, your Z value, critical value Z must be minus 1.645 or this. 1% level, this is the reason. Two-tailed test, it should be in the minus 1.96 and 1.96, minus 2.8 and 2.58. Says 5% level and 1% level. Oh, sorry, 1 minute. You have to note everything. You take a white sheet, you write the formula, one tail test, what are the critical level for one tail. Next you write confidence interval first. Next one tail test, two tail test, what is the critical value of for z. And make a table. What is confidence level? 99%. What is the area? 98%. Right? What is ZC corresponds to? ZC that corresponds to the confidence interval. You write that. Right? ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅದು. So test for significance for large samples. See, test of significance of proportions. Test of significance of proportions. We consider test of significance. One proportion is given. So how do you compute the test? Or what is your hypothesis? Right? We have to accept that, reject that. So that depends how to do that. That is the method here. So what I did, and what I sent earlier PDF, we'll take test of significance of proportion. I do that. We'll take the corresponding problems on that part particularly. Next we'll take the problems on sampling. Next we'll take sampling difference of. Next attributes. Next student distribution. Next chi-square problem. So I go one by one. I did one by one. Sent PDF just to go through that. So in the discussion of probability distribution, we have remarked that the normal distribution is the limiting form of the binomial distribution. You know that when n is large and neither p or nor is small. So let us suppose that we can take n samples, each having n number, let p be the probability of success of each number and q is the probability failure, so that p plus q equal to 1. The frequencies of samples with successes 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 up to n are the terms of the binomial expansion of n into p plus q whole power n. Thus, the binomial distribution is regarded as the sampling distribution of the number of success. So what is the mean here? What is the mean of the binomial distribution? That is n into p. Same here. What is the variance of the binomial distribution? NPQ. So we apply the same here. So mean of this distribution is NP and standard deviation is square root of NPQ. So let us consider the proportion of success. So success proportion is what? Whether they are 50%, they are in equal or non-equal, that is the main thing here. So mean of proportion of success is what? Mean is proportion of success. So mean mu divided by p. So total probability, all success possible cases is n, m mu divided by n, np into n, that is p, mean proportion of success. Standard deviation or standard error proportion of success is what? V by n, that is square root, or sigma by n. Sigma is square root of n pq by n, that is equal to square root of pq by n. I may use this result also, standard error proportion of success. Note that is equal to what? Square root of pq by n. Next, let x be the observed number of success in a sample size of n. So here, what is x? Note here, x means the observed number of successes, and mu is np, that is expected number of success. X is observed number of success, mean mu is expected number of success. Let the associated standard normal variate, z is defined by what? Z is formula x minus mu divided by sigma. But what is z here? X is x minus mean is what? N into p divided by n, sigma is square root of npq. So here I need this formula. Z is x minus n into p divided by square root of npq, or we can write sigma. Sigma is square root of npq. Note here, if mod z is greater than 2.58, you compute z by using this formula. When you have observed number of frequency, right? If you expect that, if you know the proportion, right, then we can compute z by using this relation. So we discuss if z is mod z is greater than 2.58, we conclude that the difference is highly significant and reject the hypothesis, since p is the probability of success and square root of pq by n is the standard error proportion of success, and p plus or minus 2.58 into square root of pq by n are the probable limits. See, before you going to the problems of test of significance of proportion, so what I want z value formula. Z is what? X minus n into p divided by square root of npq. And one more is here, standard error proportion, that is square root of pq by n. And also I want probable limits. So what is the probable limits of, we have some problems. So what is the in coastal town, there is an hot weather, what is the probable limits of hot weather during out of 100 days when P is 0.1. The P is 0.1 means that is 10 by 100 days. So on that we have to find the probable limits, right? What is the problem? I have problems. I did already. I sent you just to go through that. That is probable limits of income. The how many families who have income between these two. That is probable limit. Expected. What is your inference? Infer in the sense what you conclude. So that type of problems we have to discuss. So here, mainly when I go to the problems and test of significance of proportion. So again, one more thing, we have not mentioned anything. So this is the proportion problem. This is mean of problem. You have to look at that problem. So what I have to show that, right? So if you have observed frequency, you know the P. So you can expect the frequency. Then you compute Z by using this relation. If Z is greater than 2.8, we conclude that the difference is highly significant and rejecting the hypothesis. If it less than 2.58, we accept the hypothesis. That is the one. So here test of what? Significance proportion. Next test of significance for difference of means. 1 minute. 1 minute. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನೋಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನೋಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದೇನು ಪ್ರಾಬಬಲಿ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ, ಝೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಎರರ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲ್ ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಿಡಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನ್. Next, test of significance for difference of means. So let mu1 and mu2 be the mean of two population. Let x1 bar, see, when two population is given, you have to take the difference mean. What is the formula to compute that? This is sigma 1 x1 bar and x2 bar, sigma 1 and sigma 2 be the mean and standard deviation of two large sample of size n1 and n2 respectively. We wish to test the null hypothesis h0. So we assume that decision is correct. We alternative, the decision is wrong. We see the z value, right? If it is less than that, that is null hypothesis, that is accepted. Otherwise, we have to reject that. Alternative hypothesis is true. So H0, there is no difference between the population of men. That is H0 is mu1 equal to mu2, right? We assume that mean 1 and 2 are equal. The statistic for this test is given by z equal to x1 bar minus x2 bar divided by square root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square divided by n. So if we have two means and two standard deviations, you take the difference, you compute z by using this relation. Also, confidence limits for the difference of means of the populations are x1 bar minus x2 bar plus or minus zc into sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. So we adopt the same procedure for testing the null hypothesis by using one-tailed or two-tailed test. So same procedure, one-tailed test, two-tailed test here. So you have to apply z value. What is the 5% level, 1% level? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಈ ಝೆಡ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಒನ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಟೂ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್, ಒನ್ ಟೈಲ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್, ಟೂ ಟೈಲ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಅಟ್ 1.5% level of significance, 1% of level of significance. You have to observe that. So sometimes what happens, we accept the hypothesis at 5% level, but not at 1% level. Or in both the cases we accept, or both the cases it may reject, right? Because that z value which is not within that range, both the level 15% and 1% level. ಸೊ ಇದೇನಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಥಿಯರಿ ಈ ಥರ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಈಸಿ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, ರೈಟ್? ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. Corollary, what happens if the samples are drawn from the same population, different population, that is the formula. If it drawn from the same population, then what happens, your standard deviation is same, therefore x1 bar minus x2 bar, sigma equal, sigma I take common, sigma square, take out of root of that sigma square, sigma 1 over n1 plus 1 over n2. So this is the corollary to that one, right? So test of significance for difference of properties or attributes for two samples. P1, P2 be the sample proportion in respect of an attribute corresponding to two large sample of size n1 and n2 drawn from two population. We wish to test the null hypothesis just not that there is no difference between the population with regard to the attributes. The statistics for this test is given by z is p1 minus p2 divided by square root of pq into 1 by n1 plus 1 by n2, where p stands for, what is your p here? n1 p1 plus n2 p2 divided by 1 plus n2. So q is 1 minus p. p1 p2 is given, proportion is given, so we compute p by using this. n1 n2 is given, we compute the p from this, so finally we compute z is here. So we adopt the same procedure for testing the null hypothesis by using one tail test or two tail test. So if you have mean difference of sampling phase, if you have difference of mean and difference of properties in the sense attributes, we go through the one tail test or two tail test. But formula is different. Z is here, mean is given. Here Z, when that is available data ನೋಡಿ. So you go through the problem. So what I have, ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅವನು ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. Then you get an idea. Two mean ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ, two difference of mean ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನ. First ಅದನ್ನು ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, given part ಅಂತ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. So that we can conclude that finally with a test, one tailed and two tailed test. Next, test of significance for small sample. So small sample, that is individually, which is not to follow the normal probability distribution. So that we go to the individual, that is called one is student distribution. So student distribution, and one is chi-square test. In case of large sample, sampling distribution follows a normal distribution, which is not true in case of small sample. So we introduce the concept of degree of freedom. So degree of freedom at 5%, again 5% level of degree, PDF, we give the value. Otherwise, just to check, that is called. So mainly there are two distribution. One is students T distribution. One more is chi-square test. Chi-square test. So to accept the hypothesis or reject the hypothesis for small sample, I will go through that. So here, ಈಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಬೇಕು ಹೇಳಿ, ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲ್ ಬೇಕು, ಝೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಎರರ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನ್ಸ್, and then I want z value. So when observed frequency is given, so we compute expected frequency when I know n, I know p, probability of success, then I know n, so we can compute that easily. So this is the formula, proportion is given. So mean is given, so again x1 x2 bar is given, but again use corresponding formula for z, and you conclude the result by taking one tail or two tail test at 5% level and 1% level. That is, when attributes is given, difference of mean is given, sample mean is given, we conclude that by using one tail or two tail test. Yes, problems. Here we consider the problems on test of significance of proportions, right? So a coin is tossed 1,000 times. I will come back again. We'll start the same problem during next hour. A coin is tossed 1,000 times. How many times a coin is tossed? 1,000. That is your n. N is what? Trial. That is 1,000 times. And head turn of 540 times. That is observed frequency. So observed frequency x is given. X is 540. So decide on the hypothesis the coin is unbiased. The coin is unbiased means what? There is no bias. There is no bias means the equal in proportion. So P and Q are, say, biased coin where P and Q are unequal. If it is unbiased, where P and Q are equal, right? That is paired coin. So there is there is a paired coin in the sense a coin is paired. That is head. There is an head and tail. So which is not both the sides are tail or both the sides are head. So that probability is also there. Possibility is also there, right? But here, so what we have to show that the coin is unbiased. So what he has given, you have to write that. Suppose the coin is unbiased. So that is your hypothesis. Suppose the coin is unbiased. Let P is the probability of getting a head in one toss. That is equal to 1. That is 50%. Proportion, that is 1/2. Since P plus Q equal to 1, Q is also 1/2. What is expected number of heads in 1,000 tosses? Expected number is what? I mentioned earlier. The expected number mu, that is n into P. So n into P is here 1,000. P is off, that is 500. We expect a number of heads. So 500 heads turn up. Correct? when a coin starts at 1000. But what is your observed value? Observed value is 540. So actual number of heads is 540. Therefore, what is the difference? Me x minus np, that is 540 minus 500, there is a 40. So consider z equal to what? Proportion is given. What is the formula for z? Z equal to x minus np divided by square root of npq. That is equal to x minus np is 40 divided by n is 1000, p is of, q is of. If you compute that, that is 2.53. So 2.53 at 99% of confidence level, we have to verify that. 2.53, which is obviously less than 2.8, correct? There's, we can say that the coin is unbiased. If it is greater than 2.58, the coin is biased, right? So there's the one problem. So I think I have 14 problem. I think 14 or 15 problems on test of proportions. We'll do that again. We'll start from test of significance of proportion. I start with the problem number 1 during next step. Before you coming to the next class, just to go through the theory part. What is the testing? What is null hypothesis? What is alternative hypothesis? Next, note the confidence interval. All right. Next, to come to the proportion. You come to the proportion. So what is the formula I have? First one is Z formula. When observed frequency, observed number of successes is given, so P definitely we know that is proportions here. So you compute P when I know P. So when I know N, you can expect the number. So take Z formula, that is Z is x minus NP divided by square root of NPQ. And note the confidence interval, that is 99% confidence interval. That values that corresponds to confidence coefficient that corresponds to 2.58. You note that. And what is standard error proportion? Square root of PQ by N. And what is probable limit? P plus or minus 2.58 into square root of PQ by N. That is ZC, 2.58. That is at 99% level of confidence. So this is I want for the next class. Next class ke andre test of significance of proportions. For to do the problems on that, I want this. Iಷ್ಟು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬನ್ನಿ. ಒನ್ ಟೈಲ್ ಟೂ ಟೈಲ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಸ್ಯಾಂಪಲ್ ಮೀನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು. ಸೊ ಎನಿ ಡೌಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್? Any doubt?
ಸರ್
ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಇಷ್ಟು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಿ, ಇಷ್ಟು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಹೇಳು ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ವರ್ಷನೇ ಬೇರೆ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗುಡ್, ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗುಡ್. ನಾವಿರೋದೇ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಫೇವರ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಮನೇಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ವಾ? ಏನು ರೋಗ ಬಂದಿದೆ? ಮನೇಲಾದ್ರೂ ಬೈಬೇಕಲ್ವ ನಮಗೆ? ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಲ್ವ? ಇದು ಒಳ್ಳೆತನ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದು. ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಈ ಬ್ರಾಂಚನ್ನು ನಾನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಆಯಿತಾ? ನನಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಇ ಸಿ ಐ ಟಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೋರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ 85% ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್? ನಿಮ್ದು ಏನು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಏನು? 88, 90. ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇರೋದೊಂದೇ, ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್ ನಡೆಯೋದು ಆಫ್ಲೈನೇ, ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್, ರೈಟ್? 100% ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಫ್ಲೈನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ಲೈನೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆನ್ಲೈನೇ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಆಗಲೂ ಬೇಕು. ಆನ್ಲೈನೇ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಮುಗಿಯುತ್ತೆ, ಸೇಮ್ ಆಸ್ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಸೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನೀವು ಓದ್ದೇನೆ ನೋಡೋಣ, ಆ ಡೈನಾಮಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಡಿ. ಆಫ್ಲೈನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಕೇಳೋಣ, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದೇ ನಿಮಗೂ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಓದಬೇಕು. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಕೇಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಫಸ್ಟೇ ಕಳಿಸಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಲೈನ್ ಬೈ ಲೈನ್ ಬರೆದಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಓದಿದ್ರು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಬಟ್ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಓದಿದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಫೈನ್. ಬಟ್ ಏನಂದರೆ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ರೂಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, 85% ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿ. ಬಟ್ ನೀನು ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಓದೋಕ್ಕೂ ನಾನೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀನು ಓದಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಕೇಳಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೂ. ಅದ್ರಾಗ ಹೇಳು, ನನ್ನ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ 100 ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸು. ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಏನು ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಮನೇಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ನಾವು ಬರಲ್ವೇನಯ್ಯ? ನಾನು 8:30 ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮುಗಿತು, 9:30 ಮತ್ತು 11:50 ಮತ್ತು 3:30 ನೀವು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಹೇಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು, ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಆಲ್ಟರ್ನೇಟಿವ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗೋಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲೂಬೇಡಿ, ಸೇಫಾಗಿರಿ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿ ಮನೆಯವ್ರು ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು, ಎಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿರಿ ಆಯಿತಾ. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಓದಿ. ನಾನು ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಓದ್ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನೀವು ಬರ್ಬೇಕು, ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳೋ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಆಲ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಅಪ್ಪ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಲೀವ್.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಆಲ್.